Good morning, class. Today, let us take a recap of um, what we have known so far regarding this paper, that is Modern English Structure Introduction to English Grammar. So, we have started with the word classes, and the word classes are basically divided into two categories: open word classes and closed word classes. Open word classes are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, whereas the closed word classes are articles, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections, and pronouns. Now, why nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs are called open word classes? Because they are open for further additions. Um, in case we have to answer the question, how many nouns are there in English, or how many verbs are there in English, how many adjectives are there in English, what will be our answer? Will not be able to answer this question, since there are innumerable nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives. Day by day, this list goes on extending. It continues. Many members can be added to the lists of nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. That's why these word classes are known as the open word classes. Whereas now this is not the case with the other word classes like prepositions, pronouns, like interjections, conjunctions, and articles. We'll start with the articles. How many articles are there in English? Only three articles are there in English. Likewise, we can answer the question, how many prepositions are there in English. So we can, if we invest our efforts, then we can definitely make a list of the pronouns, the conjunctions, the prepositions, and the interjections, because they are limited in number, and this list can be closed. This list is closed. There cannot be further additions generally. So these word classes, that's why these word classes, they are known as the closed word classes, right? After this, we have discussed the phrases. Now, grammar, the study of grammar consists of, or grammar consists of hierarchy, right? So at the lowest level, there are words of which there are two classes, that is open word classes and closed word classes. And when we go higher on this ladder, to the next stage, to the next level, we have the study of phrases. What is a phrase? A group of words is known as a phrase. For example, girl is a word, but a girl is a phrase. There are two words. Okay, a tall girl, three words, it's a phrase. So we then studied, afterwards we studied the phrases. And how many types of phrases are there? There are noun phrases, verb phrases, adjective phrases, adverb phrases, and prepositional phrases. There are 5 types of phrases. I repeat: noun phrases, in which the head word or the most important word is a noun. Verb phrase is the phrase that consists of the verb elements, the main verb and the auxiliary verbs and the modal auxiliary verbs going with it or without these modal and auxiliary verbs. So we have verb phrases. Then the third type of phrase is the adjective phrase. Very beautiful, right? So here it is an adjective phrase. Then we have adverb phrases, when very quickly, too quickly. Okay, so these are the adverb phrases, because the major word, the head word, is the adverb here. Then we have prepositional phrases. Which are the prepositional phrases? The phrase that begins with a preposition: in the in the garden, on the table, okay, at his residence. So these are the prepositional phrases. They begin with the preposition. So these are the 5 types of phrases. And again, for this topic, we did study the structure of these phrases, and particularly the noun phrases. So noun phrases are made up of some elements. The most important element is the head. Before the head there is pre-modification, and before pre-modification there can be the determiners. Determiners are again of 3 types: central determiners, predeterminers, and post determiners. In the pre-modification section we can find adjectives or participles, that is ing participle, or the ed participle like words, adjectives, and the noun modifiers. So sometimes a tourist spot, in this noun phrase, a tourist spot is the head noun, and tourist that modifies this head noun is also a noun. Tourist is a noun, but here it comes under the heading, under the section pre-modification. So here it is known as a noun modifier. It is doing the job of an adjective to modify a noun, the head noun. That's why tourist here is a noun modifier. The car shop is the head noun, and car is the noun that modifies, that plays the role of an adjective in the pre-modification section. So it is known as the noun modifier. Then whatever comes after the head of a noun phrase is known as the post-modification. Post-modification, it modifies this. This is the element that modifies, that changes, that adds to the meaning of the head, but that comes after the head within this structure of the noun phrase. So this is known as the post modification. And what can come under this section, post modification? Sometimes it is the prepositional phrase, and sometimes it is the subordinate clause. Okay, so these are the types of phrases, and we have also studied how to analyze these phrases into different parts, into different structural parts. Now after phrases we have construction. The next level of construction, or the next level of grammar in hierarchy, in grammatical hierarchy, is a clause. Okay, so a clause is we can say that it is the basic type of sentence. Okay, so there are the clauses are made up of some elements, and which are those elements? Subject, verb, object, complement, and adverbial. Subject is the theme, is the topic about which the sentence is constructed. Okay, so this is the subject. Then we have the verb. Verb is the element that talks about the action, or what is happening to, or what is done by the subject. So the next is verb. Then we have object. Object is the receiver of the action done by the, undertaken by the subject, and that is presented in the form of the verb. So whatever action is indicated by the verb it takes place on something or somebody, and that is known as the object. An object is of 2 types. Which are those 2 types? Direct object and indirect object. When something or somebody is the direct receiver of the action, that is the direct object, and the indirect receiver of the action is the indirect object. So indirect object comes first, and then comes the direct object. Then we have the complement. Complement is the information given about either the subject or the object. Another clause element. I am a teacher. So teacher is the information about the subject, that is I. So it's a complement. They are cricketers. Cricketers is the information about the subject, that is they. So cricketers is the complement. Then we have the last element of the clauses, that is known as the adverbial element. So the element that gives information about the manner, about the place, about the time, condition in which something happens. So these elements are known as the adverbials. For example, I am in my college. So here I is the subject, am verb, and in my college is the adverbial, right? So the part of the clause that gives information about manner, about place, about time, about condition, about reason. So it has many functions, it has many jobs to do. This element known as the adverbial element. So these are the clause elements. Then after clause we have the next level in the study of grammar in this hierarchy, that is known as the sentence. Clauses come together and they make sentences, bigger sentences. Okay, sentences are of two types: simple sentences and multiple sentences. So simple sentences are those having only one clause in them, and the sentence that is made up of more than one clauses is known as the multiple sentence. Now these multiple sentences can be divided into two categories: complex sentences and compound sentences. Complex sentences are those in which one clause is the main clause, the independent clause, and another clause is depending upon that clause, is subordinate to that clause. So this is known as the complex sentence, which is a category of the multiple sentence. So the first category is the complex sentence, in which one clause is the main clause, that can stand alone. Okay, that can be considered as an independent sentence. So this is known as the complex sentence. This is known as the main clause, and the clause which is dependent upon that main clause, or which is subordinate to the main clause, that is, it cannot stand alone without the main clause. That clause is known as the dependent clause or the subordinate clause. Then another category, the second category of the multiple sentences, is the compound sentence. Compound sentence means the sentence in which the clauses that are joined together are of equal status. Means both the clauses, they are the independent clauses, they are the main clauses. Nothing or no clause is depending upon the another clause, the other one. So there is no main clause and no subordinate clause. Both clauses, or all the clauses that are the part of this multiple sentence, they are of equal status, they are equally important. All of them are main clauses, all of them are independent clauses. So such sentences are known as the compound sentences. So complex sentences and compound sentences are the categories of the multiple sentences. Then we have an important aspect related to the multiple sentences, related to the complex and compound sentences, that is known as the sentence synthesis. How the sentences are made bigger. So there are two ways, there are two processes. One is known as coordination and the other one is known as the subordination. So the multiple sentences that are made, that are formed, that are created by the process known as coordination are the by coordination the outcome is the compound sentences. Both are equally important. So this is coordination. The second process that is followed and sentences are made bigger is known as the subordination. That is, one clause is made as the main clause and the other clauses or other clause is depending upon that, is subordinate to that. So this process is known as the subordination. So, and depending upon that, we have to take help of the coordinating conjunctions or the subordinating conjunctions. When we go further, we have an important aspect of language that is known as the ambiguity. Ambiguity is when the word or a phrase or a clause has more than one meanings. The speaker or the listener, they either mean or they either take this meaning or that meaning. So there is always the doubt regarding the meaning, whether this or that, when a word or a phrase or a clause or a sentence has multiple meanings. So ambiguity is multiplicity of the meaning. There are more than one meanings. So this is known as the ambiguity. And ambiguity is again of two types, that is structural ambiguity and lexical ambiguity. Lexical ambiguity is that ambiguity when a word has more than one meanings, and the structural ambiguity is the ambiguity is created, multiplicity of meaning is created in a sentence because of the structure of that sentence. So you can go to my earlier videos regarding the structural ambiguity, where I have explained the structural ambiguity and the lexical ambiguity. So these are the two types of ambiguity. Then we have another very important topic known as the morphology. Morphology is a section, is the name of a subject or topic that is very important as far as the English grammar is concerned, as far as the linguistics is concerned. It is the process of word formation, how the words are formed, how the words can be analyzed in different parts. So this is known as the morphology or the word formation. So there we have to study the terms like a root word, like the stem word, like affixes, which are again of two types, suffixes and prefixes. There are also infixes also. Then what is inflectional process, what is derivational process, what is compounding, what is conversion. So there are different types of the word formation, or there are different methods of the morphology. And what we have to do with the help of this is we can analyze the words into different parts. Then we have varieties of English language as well. So this is a kind of recap of what we have discussed so far during this semester. Now what you have to do is go through this video for a couple of times and try to understand what are the topics that are clear to you, and what are the topics regarding which you have some doubts, or in case you want me to repeat those, to revise again, to take a revision of those topics, or to go into more details regarding those topics, you can send your questions, you can send your suggestions on the Google Classroom, because I have changed the setting so that you can post your queries, you can post your suggestions, you can post your questions, so that I could make other videos in detail regarding those topics that you feel as difficult, or that you feel that I need to elaborate to explain more regarding those difficult topics. Also, I have sent you a question bank of the MCQ type multiple choice questions. So go through all those questions and try to answer those questions. And then also you may find some questions difficult to deal with, some questions difficult to answer. So regarding that also, you can send me your questions and your doubts with the help of the Google Classroom, or you can contact me. So tomorrow, let us talk about the subordinate clauses. There are different types of subordinate clauses, and we'll go into details of the subordinate clauses or the dependent clauses and their function and their form tomorrow. Thank you.